Hey guys, my name is Charlie, and in this video, I'm going to tell you guys why you should stop hiring in the US and hire overseas talent instead. Just a little bit of background. I'm a 33-year-old entrepreneur in SoCal. I run two companies. I employ over 70 people right now. Most of my team is overseas, and it's been a huge reason why we've been able to grow, build multi-million-dollar businesses while keeping our profit margins at 70+%, right? It's probably the biggest thing that I see a lot of entrepreneurs not doing. And it absolutely blows my mind that people hire in the US for so many roles that could be easily replaced with someone overseas that costs 80% less. It's just crazy. So I think if I could go back 5 to 10 years, I would tell myself, I'd question myself, like, Charlie, why do you think you need to hire in the US? Because I think this is a misconception that a lot of people have. I think it's ego, right? It's cool to say that, oh, my team is in LA or my team is in New York. But when it comes down to like the numbers and the actual logic behind the decision, it doesn't make any sense. Makes zero sense. There are so many roles out there that should be it should be with someone overseas. It should not be with someone in the US. It does not make any sense. And so, yeah, what should we talk about in this video? Let's talk about, okay, so the problem that every entrepreneur has is, how do I build a team that's not super expensive, that's really good, right? An A-player team member. It's definitely hard to hire. I've hired a lot of people over the years. I've had to let go of some of them. I've also hired a lot of really amazing people. And when it comes down to your business, like if you want to be successful in your business and have a sustainable business that you can sell, that is profitable, that keeps your clients happy, you need a stellar team. The difference between an A player versus, let's say, a B or C player is massive. B and C players are everywhere. They're easy to find, right? Like anyone can go find a B or C player. But when you compare that person to an A player, the difference is just so big on what that A player can do for your business. Probably a lot of you watching this video, you have multiple team members, and you know the difference between a B and an A player, or even a C and an A player, right? Even A and B players have a huge difference. So ideally, you can just place only A people on your team and really avoid those B players. So let's move this here. So let's talk about like why overseas. There are an incredible amount of positives when it comes to hiring people overseas. So it's going to be price, of course. That is the most common one. I think a lot of people, though, they think of overseas talent as like the cheap $4 to $5 per hour, or even like $3 per hour VAs that are not that good, right? There's definitely roles where that makes sense, but a lot of people, it just gives a bad impression of it. There are phenomenal people out there all over the world with so much experience, great English, everything, and they are going to do a much better job at whatever role it is you need to fill than someone that's local. It just doesn't make sense that someone needs to be local for so many positions. Some, yes, it does make sense, but majority of them, absolutely not. So price is one of them. We'll talk more about price later on, like what some of the average rates are. So quality, right? It makes sense that the best person for your job is not within a 5-mile radius of where you live, right? Even if you hire in the US, the world is so much bigger than the US, and there are insanely talented people everywhere. I've seen so many resumes, portfolios, everything. I know this is the truth. And in a lot of the cases, like these overseas people are much, much better than US talent. Okay, quality, so price, quality, remotes. Okay, remote is the future, whether you like it or not. Soon, I think almost everyone's gonna be working remotely, and people want remote jobs. Like it's an advantage. And so you're able to actually attract better talent, and they're more likely to work with you for a long time, right? I think people, like any business owner, hates when someone leaves. And if you want to retain your talent better, make them remote. Easy. Okay, price, quality, remote, English. The English levels of the people that I hire are incredible. Not every person I hire is going to have like perfect 100% American accent English, but they're not in like client-facing jobs. So it's completely irrelevant. They have great English, we're able to communicate, and that's pretty much all that matters. There's also a lot of places you can hire where people have perfect English and can be super great client-facing, like sales, customer support, if they have to be on calls or on the phone. South Africa is one of those places. You can hire great people there for much, much less than equivalent in the US. But we'll talk more about that later, right? Okay, so why overseas? It just makes sense. It does not make sense for you to hire in the US for a lot of these roles. Let's talk about locations, because I think this is a question that a lot of people have. Like, where should I hire? What countries are the best? And you're gonna get different answers from different people. I've hired in almost every single country. My favorite is Indonesia. And that's why we basically, my business partner and I, we started paid recruiting. We're mostly based in Indonesia because we think that that is the best place to hire overseas talent. Let me write this down. Indonesia. Indonesia is one of those places where it's like the Philippines 5 to 10 years ago. It's the up and coming Philippines, meaning the pricing is lower in Indonesia. The people there are amazing, super friendly, very hardworking, pretty Western culture. They love watching like US shows and all that stuff, and great skill sets, right? So Indonesia, I think, is one of the best places to hire from. I've also hired from places like India, Pakistan. I don't think they're as good, like no offense to those countries, but I've had a much better experience hiring in Indonesia. That's why we based our company there. And okay, what else? You also have LATAM. So Latin America, right? Oh my God. That was not supposed to happen. All right. Latin America is extremely great. One of the best things with Latin America is the time zone is pretty much the same as the US, right? You have Mexico, which is right under the West Coast, so PST hours. You have Argentina, which I think is 3 hours or 4 hours after that, or ahead of it. So that's basically in line with Eastern time. So if you want someone that's working the same exact hours as you, fantastic place to hire from. Also very loyal, hardworking, smart, great English too, right? So we're talking Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, and there's others, right? What else do we have? Okay, so we also have South Africa. This is going to be really good for client-facing. Perfect English. They have that cool South African accent. Let's see. The time zone is a little bit tough, right? South Africa and Indonesia, a little tougher on time zone. But if the role does not need them to be working PST or Central or Eastern time, these are great places. So it makes a lot of sense for tons and tons of roles. Indonesia, LATAM, South Africa. These are the ones I'm going to focus on right now. Of course, there's Philippines. There's China. China is pretty solid. I'll write India here. Pakistan, although I'm not a huge fan of those countries for hiring. there's so many places in the world that are great, right? Even Europe. So Eastern Europe, not even just Eastern, but just Europe in general, great place. And yeah, when you don't limit your talent to one country, the US, which is not even like that smart, by the way, compared to a lot of these countries, they just have, perfect English. That's the only thing. Then you'll quickly realize, like, why not widen the search? So now let's talk about pricing, okay? So most people on my team are paid between $500 to, let's say, $2,000 to $3,000 per month. There's a pretty big range. I'd say that, okay, let's do Indonesia first, because I think that's the best place. For a lot of these more like entry-level roles, you can find someone full-time for $500 to $1,000 USD per month, and that's full-time. Okay, insane, right? $6,000 to $12,000 per year full-time. Contractor, no benefits. It's insane. And this is for someone that's full-time, so they're dedicating 40 hours per week to you. For some of the more like specific or like skilled roles, we're regularly hiring people for 700 to 2K per month full-time. 2K is definitely on the very, very high end of things. So most roles will not require a 2K per month salary. I'd say generally the most average is going to be between like 700 to 1.5K per month. This is Indonesia. Now, if we compare this salary to some of the other countries, let's say LATAM, not a country, but a region. LATAM is going to be a little bit higher. I'd say on average, maybe 10 to 20% higher. So, you're still getting someone really amazing for 800 to 1.8K per month, right? That seems to be like that seems to be most of the roles that we are finding for our clients. South Africa, it's probably going to be 50% higher. 50 to, yeah, I'll just say 50% higher. So definitely more expensive compared to Indonesia, but again, great for client facing, perfect English. And then the other countries, I'm not going to talk about too much, but they all sort of fall in this range right here, which is nuts, right? You no longer need to pay someone $5,000, $6,000 a month in the US for like a beginner role, when you can find someone very comparable for $600 per month in Indonesia, in Jakarta. It's literally like 80-90% cheaper. And they're also more loyal. I think US people are a bit too needy, right? Like they need their vacation. They're feeling sick all the time. Their work ethic is just not that good. They feel like they're owed something. Whereas people across the world, it's generally not like that. So as you can see, the pricing is insane. I'd say usually 50 to 85% less than equivalent US rates. So you're able to save a significant amount of money. There's no way that my company would be able to run doing all these non-monetized projects trying to expand if we had US people. I wouldn't even have, I wouldn't hire those people in the first place. But I'm able to add more roles, more team members to help me expand, build all these things because of these lower rates. And some people say like, you're taking advantage of them, right? It's just the way the world works. The living costs there are so much lower, and the rates that the salaries that they're able to get working for US companies are much better than working for a local company, let's say in Indonesia. They get to work remote, and it's just so much better, right? So it's really a win-win for everyone. It's a win for you, the business owner. It's also a win for the talent, like 100%. Okay, what else can we talk about? Pricing, we talked about the countries. What roles? A lot of people think that like the type of, like if you hire overseas, it's, a lot of people think that it's going to be like entry level stuff, right? Yes, there are a lot of entry people all over the world, just like there are in the US, but it goes way beyond that. So you also have mid level, and you also have like higher level hires, right? Like your executive team. You can absolutely hire your COO, your head of operations, head of growth. You can even hire a CEO. There are insanely talented and experienced people all over the world, and you can save a lot of money for your business if you find someone like that. In terms of the types of roles, like any role, seriously, any role. I'm just gonna list them off the top of my head. I'm not gonna write them down. Video editor, sales, customer support, project manager, graphic design, web design. What else? Support specialist. Doing like social media management. Oh my God. There's every single role that you are hiring for in the US, unless it's like they need to be there at like the shop or whatever, it can be like you will find someone overseas that can do it better for a lot less. So basically the whole point of this is like every single role that you think maybe you can hire for, that you think you need to hire in the US for, you can also do it overseas. I just recommend, if you guys want to figure out like the most optimized strategy, just book a call with my company, free audit of your team, who you can hire, and we can see how we can help you guys, right? So completely risk-free, and I'll have a link to that down below. Anyways, yeah. If there's anything you get from this video, it is to stop hiring just in the US and also expanding your team overseas. For me, I never wanted a business that was like right here, right? I didn't want to have to go into an office. I didn't want to have to rent a huge office space, have employees, all that stuff. It gets pretty messy. I've always wanted to have just a remote team. We can work async on Slack through all these different softwares. That's the lifestyle for me that I want, because I want that time freedom. If you want an office in a high rise and you want everyone to be in your office and you want that type of culture, yeah, you can do it, but your company's gonna grow a lot slower. You're gonna be wasting a lot more money. And I don't know, it just doesn't seem like the best lifestyle, at least for me. So I really encourage you, like, if you've thought about hiring overseas, do it. Try one person out. It's gonna blow your mind. You're gonna start to just hire overseas from the other roles. And soon you'll have like a hybrid team where some people are in person, some people are overseas. I find that to be like a perfect combination. So a small percent of my team right now is in the US. Most of them are overseas, and I think that works perfectly, right? I was talking to a very high-level entrepreneur the other day. He was basically saying he has his main people in the US, and then he has a bunch of like integrators and like support staff all overseas under those people. If you have a very good person on your team here, put a bunch of overseas talent underneath them, and their output is gonna be crazy. It's essentially gonna be like a whole new company within your company. And if you do that multiple times, it really compounds, it gets crazy. So hopefully this video has at least inspired you guys to think about hiring overseas. Know that it is possible for any type of business. We've literally worked with all types of businesses, agencies, law firms, what else? Car wrap places, right? Like every type of business you can hire overseas. If you want to work with our company, we charge a 30% of first year annual salary as our placement fee. It is a full handoff to you guys. And the reason why we structured the company like this is because Personally, my co-founder and I, we don't want to have a managed staffing solution. We don't want to pay a staffing company and then they take out a huge chunk and pay the talent. We wanted to build in-house. So we created a solution where we help you build an in-house team, saves you so much money over having a staffed company. Saves you so much money over having a staffing company manage your payroll for you and take a cut. And you build a better team, more loyalty, and it's like an actual team member. It's not like a rented person. So yeah, we'll have a link down below. Just book a free call, no pressure at all. At least I hope you guys take away that you should consider overseas talent. I know I've said that many times, but it's just changed my life. It's changed the trajectory of my business. It's allowed me to build a much more optimized business. And yeah, hopefully you guys got some value from this video. I'll do a ton of content like this on this channel, more high level, like entrepreneurial stuff, lessons, advice, tactics, whatever. And if you are a high level entrepreneur, I think you'll get a lot of value from this channel, a lot more than my main channel. That's more for beginners. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you.